So, hello, I'm Trevor, and welcome to the JPEG Experience. So over the weekend, I saw the most beautiful footage of a live broadcast I've ever seen before. And today, I want to invite my friend Nick and fellow photographer to join me to go over the broadcast and to see what your take on the footage is. So Nick, thank you so much for joining me.
Good to be here, guys. Happy to be a part of this and this little debate here. It actually does look like some pretty crispy footage. Trying to figure out exactly what the heck this guy was using.
Alright, so quick story time. I was invited to this barbecue at my friend's house, and I got there at one of the undercard fights, and during the fight itself, it was just your normal broadcast footage. Nothing special. I mean, it was broadcast by DAZN, D-A-Z-N, possibly the stupidest name I've ever heard. I don't know about you. DAZN. Anyway,
It's whatevers.
I digress. After the fight, when both Saunders and Canelo were doing their walk-up, the footage would bounce between this one footage that literally is the best live broadcast footage I've ever seen, and like just regular broadcast footage. So DAZN has posted a lot of the videos of the match on YouTube. So let's watch this one real quick, this one here, where this is a good example of the two footage types. The first one being their normal broadcast, and that's the footage that I think is remarkable. But like you can see just from those two different shots how different it is. Like the colors, the clarity, the sharpness, the depth of field. Like, what are you noticing?
This is tough, man. It's extremely clear is what it looks like. From the broadcast, it kind of looks a little hazy, a little muffled, if you will. But it's just extremely clear and crisp. That's what I'm noticing.
So first off, you do notice the difference, right?
Yeah, you do.
Like, is it noticeably different to you, or is it just me?
No, I think it's a clear cut that it's definitely much better than whatever other cameras are going on.
Because during the live footage, I was thinking like, okay, maybe the difference in clarity would just be like haze. They are at where the Cowboys play in Dallas, like the actual like football arena.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like maybe it's just like a distance thing and it's like haze from the fireworks or whatever. But you can actually see in this shot, like right here, that the crane is only like what, 30 feet away, and the guy with the gimbal is maybe like 10 feet away.
And so
like
in relation to distance, I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like air quality, it's not going to be haze. Like it's pretty clear that it's just either the camera being used or the lens being used, or a combination thereof.
Yeah, and I'm just, like the normal broadcast camera looks like a significantly more expensive camera, which is kind of crazy because this looks either like a Blackmagic, a Sony, maybe an R5 type of deal, and it's producing better results than these huge thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars broadcast cameras. So that's the insane part.
So it's funny you say this because like as soon as I saw this first clip, I was like, what camera is that? Like, and everyone was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So the entire time of like the walk up for both people, I wouldn't shut up about like there it is. I would like actually cheer when they switched.
So I have as a photographer watching a boxing match.
I know. So like I would actually cheer. I was like, dude, that's the footage right there. I'd get all excited when like it was like the crisp footage, and then like I'd be like, all right, whatever. I'd like lose interest when it was like the normal like broadcast stuff. Like I'm sure I annoyed everybody at the party, but
did they know what camera it was?
They had no idea.
Oh.
They had no idea. But like they were troopers, and they would actually like.
Yeah,
they noticed the difference too.
Okay, see, so average Joes know the difference.
They could notice it. They were not as excited about it as I was. So the entire time of the fight, for the rest of the fight, all I was thinking is like, what could it be? What could it be? So my very first impression when I saw the footage, I got excited. I'm like, dude, I think that's the first time I've seen the Sony A1 live broadcasted. Because, I mean, it was released, what, 2 months ago?
True that.
And I watch very little broadcast TV.
Interesting choice though, because what is it, the A1 and the R5 both overheat, especially at a higher frame rate or higher quality.
Does it
in higher quality modes? Yeah, no, they confirmed the A1 overheats.
Does it?
That's
okay.
why. So why would you broadcast with a camera in an important event like that?
So this shot right here, 145 of Joe Saunders coming out of the tunnel. Like, you can tell this guy's got it on a gimbal. There's no way that's a broadcast camera.
Yeah.
So it has to be a mirrorless camera.
But it's crazy, dude. That's why, like, I'm saying Sony A1 or Canon R5 versus like Blackmagic, because that's more believable with the Blackmagic in terms of overheating.
So I was thinking it's probably not an R5, because I don't think that...
Just the Canon record limits in general, 30 minutes?
Yes. So yes, Canon record limits. Though that wouldn't probably be a problem with the broadcast, because he's probably like recording on and off the whole time. But again, like that would be...
it's probably still live.
That would be one problem against Sony or Canon. It seems Sony's better about the overheating issue, especially on the A1 versus the R5. Also, the A1 is a flagship camera, the R5 is not. Okay. So there is no like Canon equivalent yet. Even though they're like comparable in a lot of ways, the Sony would make more sense. Also, throughout the broadcast, like you would see like little snippets of other people holding cameras, and it looked like the whole squad was using Sony. So that's why I was thinking...
Really? Yeah. I didn't think they were all using Sonys. Also, this is incredibly tough to tell because each person had a very intricate rig, and you couldn't... It was not easy to tell what camera this was. It could be Panasonic for all we know. We can't even really tell.
So
all we know is it's a small DSLR body type thing on a smaller gimbal, like a Ronin S or something.
Okay, so what possibilities do you think it could be?
I'm a Canon fanboy, so I'm going Canon R5.
You really think he's holding an R5?
No, like, if it was really putting my money on it, I would probably say like a C70 in the Canon realm, because there's no record limits and stuff like that. But you're right, it doesn't look as big as a C70, so probably not. Yeah, probably Canon's out on this one, unfortunately, guys.
I think so too.
A1, I could see it. Sony FX3 would not look that good, would it? I know everyone's raving about that right now. Yeah. It could be Sony FX3 possibly. I don't know, maybe it's higher quality than 4K, because the 8K and the R5 looks amazing, which is kind of similar to the image you guys are seeing. So maybe it is A1 at 8K sample down or something like that. I don't know, it's incredibly tough. It's such a big rigged out thing, and tough to tell.
We did find this one footage that someone was there at the arena, and it's like cell phone footage.
Caught a glimpse of it.
Yeah, so we caught a glimpse of it. Let's go to that real quick. From that little snippet from the side, like of the fan recording, what do you think it is?
It just confirms it's a smaller body, because it's again on a handheld gimbal, and it doesn't look as big as like a C70 or like a 1DX3, nothing like that. And it's either Blackmagic probably, or Sony A1 just for record limits. Yeah,
I agree. It could be either the Blackmagic, especially that 6K Pro, or the Sony A1. All right, so one thing that like stands out to me is the quality difference. So not only is it appear sharper to me, the colors look rendered better. So like on the broadcast of Canelo coming out, his poncho was kind of like a yellowish white, and you couldn't really even see the coloring of his piping. Like the piping on the poncho itself is kind of like a blue that matches his gloves.
Yeah, but this is live, so
this is live streaming.
They had no time to adjust balances and whatnot.
Right.
Color grade, nothing like that.
The difference between the broadcast camera and mirrorless camera they were using, like, I was blown away that like the color rendering was so much better, the image was so much sharper, and just the overall look of the footage was like gorgeous. Like, what does that mean for broadcast in the future?
Actually, yeah, because that's intriguing, because this company that put on this production, or whatever, they could afford whatever cameras they wanted for anything, and they were using smaller, more budget-friendly cameras for
I mean,
important moments.
I mean, either way, like the two cameras we're talking about are what, $6,000?
Yeah.
The lenses
but I mean,
are like
in
$2,000.
contrast, like a proper TV broadcast camera, which is probably like $100,000 or more.
More. Yeah, like
more.
a TV broadcast camera. Yeah, like $250,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't see any of those actually in this. They were all over the shoulder, like the. But still.
Okay, whatever. $50,000 camera is still substantially more than
Absolutely.
a Sony A1.
Absolutely. So
stuff that me and you guys could buy.
Also, what's interesting that I picked up out of this was, I was thinking that the mirrorless camera in question was probably recording in 8K. A lot of the arguments against 8K is that it's not noticeable. So many articles where they're talking about how like you can't notice the difference of 4K to 8K. No one even has 8K TVs, but 8K downsample to 4K is noticeably better.
Yeah.
And I mean, from your experience, like we both use the R5s. Have you used 4K and 8K and then like noticed the difference?
I've never used 8K just because it destroys my files on my computer. It's such a massive file.
I mean,
and like
that is a valid point.
It eats into the memory card, but also that every time I try to play it back, it's super choppy and it doesn't look good. So
it is absolutely a pain.
It's a pain to work with.
It's an absolute pain to work with. But I have noticed a few times.
Okay, hate to bring up your favorite person, but Fro made a very good video where he took the R5 to a baseball game and did some 8K. Those clips, dude.
Yeah.
So crisp, man. It's like, I love the image quality of it. Look it up. Fro uses the R5 at a baseball game.
I did watch that clip and it did look pretty good.
Dude,
but
it was crispy, man.
Would have similar to that though. It was like the whole time was 8K. That video that he posted.
Yeah.
Where here in this broadcast, it's live.
Did they say what it was?
In what?
Did they say if it was 8K? Because like the NFL switched over to 8K and their stuff looks crisp.
No,
man.
at no point did they say they were broadcasting at 4 or 8K.
Right.
We were watching it in 4K. But like in this, it would like jump between. So it jumped between the broadcast camera, and then it would jump between whatever this mirrorless camera was, and like it was so noticeable between the two. Where in Fro's video, it was continuous 8K. So it just looked good from start to finish. Here, like you could actually notice the difference, like bouncing back and forth. And I would actually get disappointed, like when they would switch back to like the normal broadcast quality, especially for the interviews. Like there was at the end of the fight when Canelo's celebrating like with the fans down below and it's like family and stuff.
Yeah.
The guy with this mirrorless was following him around, so like it would have that footage and it's just gorgeous footage of just down there like celebrating, and then it would bounce back into the ring where they were doing their post-match like interviews and stuff.
Okay.
And there was like a noticeable drop, so it like in quality. This makes me rethink what to use in the future for broadcasting.
So you're going Sony, huh?
No, I mean, no. I don't really care about brand. Like I've never been like fond of this whole Sony Canon against each other thing. I love the fact that Sony is leading the charge in features and quality because it forces Canon to be competitive, where in the past they've kind of just held their own cameras back in features and stuff. So I think it's good for the market overall. Like whether you shoot Sony, whether you shoot Canon, I think overall the competition is good and consumers win. So
absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm trying to get my R5 without overheating.
Absolutely.
That's the dream, guys.
And
make it happen.
Potentially, I think that era of Canon holding back their own mirrorless cameras might be over, assuming that Sony continues to lead the charge with features and availability. I mean, the fact that you can use this Sony camera or potentially the Sony camera in a live broadcast is pretty remarkable.
That's true. I would like something in the Canon realm to do.
Yeah.
Something similar.
Nick, thank you so much for joining me.
Happy to be here, guys.
All right.
Follow me on the Hot Lens on the YouTubes. It should be in the description below. Mr. Trevor is so kind to drop me a link. Who knows with this guy. But yes, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure being here.
Since the recording of this conversation with Nick, DAZN has posted a behind the scenes video on their channel, which you can see here. This doesn't give much information, but it does show this. Here we see the guy holding the same rig in question, and I believe this is all we need to answer our question of what camera it is. It's pretty clear just by looking at the back of this camera that it's a Sony. Now, only two Sonys have that dial on the top left of the viewfinder, which you can see here. The Sony A9 and the Sony A1. Both cameras happen to look very similar, but the A1 does have this small square under the viewfinder. That square does appear visible on the camera in question, but it is hard to be certain. Our other clue is the cable ports. You can see that the A1 has a full HDMI port in the middle of the body, while the A9 does not. It's pretty clear in this image he has a full-sized HDMI cable plugged into the camera, which is enough evidence for me. I think it is clear that this is the Sony A1, and I find this super exciting. This may not have been the first mirrorless camera live broadcast, but it is certainly the first time I've seen it, and it's a testament to the quality and usability of mirrorless cameras. That this rig was actually used in a live broadcast, and in my opinion, blew away the other cameras in quality. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for mirrorless cameras. I know there are a lot of rumors about the future Canon R1 and the Canon R3, and that if those rumors are true, we'll be in direct competition with this Sony A1. So I think we can expect more mirrorless cameras used in big budget productions in the future. You can see the full videos of the clips we referenced in this video in the description below. Take a look and see what you think of the footage, and let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this discussion, please like and subscribe for future videos. Thanks again for watching, and thanks again, Nick, for joining me. See you all next time.